Mutebile was a true representation of what we call or what we know about Wachiga. Hardworking, okugamba mazima, ekyo linkigambo mu Lukiga nanyenkarwega. Omwesigwa, obwesigwa obutalimu bulyalya. Ngira nchuba baramanyisa honest. Chigezi has produced distinguished men and women who have served Uganda with distinction. For example, my predecessors, the Right Honorable Ruhakana Rugunda, and my brother, the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, of course, with others, as you already know. We thank Chigezi for giving us those brains that have helped the country to move forward. Now let me go to the message of the President. I'll read it verbatim. I greet you all, Mrs. Betty Mutebile and the entire Mutebile family. I join you and all the mourners to bid farewell to a distinguished public servant who committed his career to the service of his nation. The President further again said, I first knew the late Mutebile in the 1970s when he was a student at Makerere University, while some of us who were slightly older than him had resolved to fight Idi Amin immediately after he announced his coup d'etat. He later joined the public service and was part of the team that helped to restore economic stability after we captured power in 1986. Going top far was a reform that had not yielded results. He represented the liberal approach to economic management, while others advocated for more interventionist state. The determination of the specific policies that were adopted was not straightforward. Indeed, the proponents of the different approaches to economic stabilization and management often spurred in very spirited debates that were sometimes entertaining to watch. I like that environment of healthy dissent with divergent but constructive ideas, because the debate enriches robust decision making. Having considered the different approaches to rehabilitation and management of the economy, we went with the liberal approach that was influenced by the International Monetary Fund, which he championed. That approach included managing inflation through controlling government budget expenditure based on available resources, liberalization of the exchange rate, and privatization of the state-owned enterprises, among other policies. These policies aimed to stop the hemorrhaging of public resources and restore economic activity following the turmoil and ruin of the 1970s and the 80s. Most of the reforms that he advocated and later implemented were successful. For example, the enforcement of the fiscal budget discipline helped to control inflation from triple digits to low single digits, which is good for planning and investment. However, some of other policies, such as privatization, were successful, but only to a limited extent. The contested privatization of Uganda Commercial Bank was intended to eliminate some corruption in banking that led to high non-performing loans that caused interest rates to be high for even the good borrowers. Unfortunately, the interest rates remained stubbornly high despite the privatization of UCB. This shows that I was right to refuse privatization of Uganda Development Bank, because that would have been going far with a reform that had not yet yielded the promised results. But in fairness to Mutebile, I sometimes heard him appealing to the profiteering commercial banks to reduce their lending rates, not least because the Bank of Uganda's policy rate as well as inflation were low. I can say that Mutebile did his part, and the young generations should take on the mantle of reforming the financial system to deliver reasonably priced loans that can support the socio-economic transformation of Uganda. The late Mutebile was very hardworking and committed to the delivery of his responsibilities when he served in the government and later at the central bank. His productivity was evident from how quickly he would submit papers when I asked for his input on economic matters. The country has lost a gallant son who will always be remembered for his meritorious and patriotic service to his motherland. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Professor Mutebile started his public life well, and he has ended it well and successfully. In the government, we don't have any issue with him.
I therefore want to take this opportunity to thank my departed brother for playing a critical role to ensure my political victory in Kabale, because without that foundation, it would have been difficult to play other roles in politics.
It is not the years one lives, it is what one does in those years. Because Tumusiime Mutebile, as you have read and heard the eulogies, really he has done a lot.
He made selfless contribution towards economic development of his country and has left an indelible mark as the governor of Bank of Uganda.
He was a revolutionary and transformative economist, no doubt the most influential reformer of Uganda's economy.
So he left one wife, one son, Duncan, and 3 girls.
I will always remember you as dad, friend, counselor, mentor, protector, provider, spiritual head of the family, and most of all for your contribution to Uganda as a whole.
Daddy was a great man, both to family, to friends, to government, to the bank. He was a man for all seasons.
Many of us are standing as a result of his involvement in our lives. Those he educated, those he sponsored to go for treatment, those he sponsored for weddings, those, name it. We appreciate you, Emmanuel, but we appreciate God who enabled you to do so.
He served his country, continent, humanity, especially through his humanitarianism, and has been and will remain a blessing to all of us. In the words of St. Paul, he fought the good fight, he kept the faith. May God, who gifted us with his life, bless and keep him in glory.